Good morning, man. I just want to do a quick thing on ring culture. Um, Real quick thing on ring culture. I think this is obviously we got game seven tonight, and no matter what happens, this is the end of the basketball season. Um, for men's at least, right? Then we got the WNBA, we all have the big three and stuff like that. But this is the end of 5-on-5 men's basketball season, right? So the ring culture conversation is a good one because I think it's a conversation that needs to be had. Because I think at the end of the day, a lot of players in their legacy get bashed, we look at players just like a T-Mac, right? T-Mac, it's funny, T-Mac's case where he's the guy that wanted to go to Orlando. I mean, he went to Orlando. The plan was for him, Duncan, and Grant Hill to form a super team. That would have been an ill team. But one of Doc Rivers' team rules was wives and girlfriends not being allowed on the team plane, and that kind of turned Duncan off. So Duncan did not come. Grant Hill actually did come, but he came injured, and it left a guy like T Mac alone on that Orlando squad. Again, they had some bad seasons. They had some decent seasons there. I believe he signed a 6 or 7 year deal. So in 2000, this is that T Mac is really turning 21. Big part of him entering his prime and things like that. We know how T Mac's career went. It kind of ended early due to injury. But T Mac was great. T Mac was up there. T Mac was up there with Kobe. And again, like he said, well, if I was on a team with Shaq and Kobe, and again, if that plan had come together the way they decided, who knows, right? But it's one of them things where when you look at the greatness of individual players, you have to throw the ring. You gotta have perspective. You can't just say T Mac was a bum because he never won a ring when there were circumstances surrounding it. So again, right? Again, him and Jay Will were actually able to beat Stephen A. up. I didn't watch none of the clips or anything. I'm going off secondhand information about that being the case, right? So him and T, again, it's Stephen A. I'm glad that Stephen A. is taking this on the chin because again, he's one of the perpetuators of this ring culture. Now, we're gonna get to LeBron's involvement in it because here we go. LeBron now bringing it up, and obviously this is what gets it in the forefront, the pantheon. I had Johnny Expose on my podcast on Tuesday, and he was surprised to know that I put it on the Jordan fan. I put it on the fan of the 1990s and 1980s, right? I put it on those guys where ring culture came from, where it originated. Who perpetuated it, right? I put it on him. But what LeBron cannot do now, and this is where I call him out, what he cannot do is act like he played no part in it. Is act like he didn't give into it and decided, hey, I need to win an X amount of rings if I want to be considered North. So I'm great. And then try to put himself in that position. He clearly did that. He did that. There's no one he can blame. There's no cop out. There's no, someone made me do it. The devil made me do it type of thing. LeBron knew what he was. And again, what I don't do is criticize LeBron for doing it. See, I think LeBron wants grace here that he's not going to get. He's not going to get it from me. He'll get it from his fans, but he won't get it from me. Because you went on that stage in Miami, before the season, and you said again. I remember the Will Smith, Shaq pep rally they had in Miami in 04. And they said, it seemed like Miami, when they got Shaq, Warren, and Will Smith had to hype the crowd up. I remember that. So I remember, who has pep rallies? But Miami. So you went to a party town, you went to another all-time greats team in your draft class, and you put yourself in position to where you can start winning championship rings. Let's keep it a stat. So now that your career is we're now 15 years later. 15 years later, and for most people, that's their career. Forget the fact that you had 7 years before that in the league. And you had a finals appearance. And you had teams that were contenders. At least 3 of them. At least. I can say, and that's the thing, that's a testament to LeBron's talent. Before the Miami thing, you had 4 teams that were contenders. If you make it to the Final Four, you're a contender. If you want to me 2008, okay. So you had 3 teams. Wait a minute. Yeah. 07, 09, 10. Those teams were contenders. But the narrative gets to be, you didn't have enough help. The teams that beat you were better. All right? No failure. No failure gets to be put on you. No proper assessment of your own. No proper assessment of your own performance gets to be made. You get a pass. And I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. But what we're doing here is you gotta understand. With it's like you went into Vegas and bet big money. And yet, when you lost the hand, you think that shouldn't count. You should lose the money. No, you get it back. I was just betting play money. No, LeBron, you when you did Miami, when by extension you did Cleveland, back to Cleveland, and then you came into the Lakers, you bet big. You bet big. What you put yourself in position to do was bet big. You put a big bet. And now you want to renege on that bet. You played the ring culture game yourself, and now you want to believe. You want about the fact that you don't have the 6 or you didn't have the 8 that you set out to win. Now you want to tell us how bad ring culture is. Well, again, I agree that ring culture is kind of stupid. It leaves people, making stupid, simplistic basketball arguments like 6-0 and 4-6. Again, something that no matter what anybody says, you won't hear me say it. You won't hear me use 4-6. You won't hear me say 4-6 is better than 2-1 is better than 4-6 or 3-2. You won't hear me that. There's a lot more that goes into that. So I don't put Bird ahead of LeBron, 2 spots ahead of LeBron because of 3-2. I put Bird ahead of LeBron for a lot of other reasons. I put Bird ahead of LeBron for context purposes. I put Bird ahead of LeBron for his consistency in helping teams win. There aren't no 30 and 33 and 50 something. It's funny, right? Jordan 30 and 40, 52 seasons. They won't tell you that he played 18 games, and 14 of those 18 games he played on a strict time limit. They won't tell you that because God knows if Jordan didn't get injured that year, that team would have had a lot better record. And they made the playoffs because it was a 16 team out of 23 making the playoffs. So yes, Jordan actually came back, risked further injury to his career by trying to get that team to the playoffs on a strict minutes limit. And he did so. He was able to help his team win playing less than 20 minutes a game. So they don't bring up context. They bring up stupid, simplistic arguments, and you're stuck having a stupid, simplistic argument like that. I put Bird ahead of LeBron because number one, the way he played the game. He was able to be a point forward without handling the ball. Like he was able to be an elite playmaker at his position without taking the ball out of the point guard's hands. Something that made his team better. Since his team was consistently better, even when he was spent the last 5 years of his last 4 or 5 years of his shortened 13-year career with a bad back, he still put up great numbers and still helped his team to win, at least get to the playoffs consistently. That's why. Because Bird's best teams, his pantheon teams were better than LeBron's. Longevity comes on the LeBron side. But consistency and winning is something I value more. LeBron had teams that were and again, he famously said, have the same energy. Deleted the tweet within an hour and expected us not to know about it. Or not to forget about it. That's why. Yes, the narratives. The narratives is why to reduce LeBron. And I know a lot of LeBron fans you just single LeBron out. Well, hey, Larry Bird fucked up his career by paving his mom's driveway. Yet he still went out there and represented. Yeah, there was one season where he played 6 games. So in effect, Larry and Magic played 12 games. Combined, they won 8 championships Bird outlasted Magic by 1 year career. Those two won 8 of the 12 of the 13 championships that were won during their playing careers. Because again, one season you almost got to throw out for Bird. You also got to throw out Magic's second year. But Bird won a championship that year. I mean, you don't got to throw it out because Magic did get healthy by playoff time, but he was injured that second year. Again, he's not even a starting point guard yet. It's still Norm Nixon. Magic is essentially a 6-man on that second, despite winning the conference Finals MVP the year before. They were still trying to figure out when exactly they were going to use Magic. They used him all over. And then by next year, he got Westhead out, and it was showtime. Matt Riley brought it in, it was showtime. Showtime was to be born. Very ironic, considering Westhead would go to Loyola Marymount and run a high-octane style of play, but he wanted to slow down the Lakers back in the 80s. It is what it is. But you're not gonna get away from this, LeBron. You're trying to use this podcast, and there's a reason. Again, there's a reason why LeBron doesn't do one-on-one interviews. There's a reason why he goes up and has, the only person he does talk to gives him softball. Like Steve Nash is not going to push back. Neither did J.J. Redick last year. LeBron is able to therapy his playing career by sitting down on these podcasts. That's what happens. He's able to go have a little therapy session to cope with his career. But see, bro, there's people smart enough to realize. There's people out here smart enough to realize you're full of shit. Most of your fan base who adore you will believe anything you say. I call my guy Magic out a lot. Magic calling Luke, and I'm gonna watch that soon enough. Cause it's like, yeah, you don't want to see your hero say dumb shit. I want to see exactly what Magic said to Luka, because I didn't want to hear him what he talked about with the Knicks and all that. I didn't want to hear my hero. Magic is still my hero. Still guy I look up to in so many ways as a man and everything else. I didn't want to hear him saying dumb shit because he But when they say dumb shit, I gotta call them out. That's the difference between me and you fanboys. If LeBron is capping, say he's capping. It ain't hard. If the man is capping, say he's capping. He's capping. He's coping. And I don't want to be a channel that just bashes LeBron. But I will call LeBron, and I will be because like I said, LeBron is right on ring culture. Problem is, he's the wrong messenger because he fed into it, and now that he was not as successful as he set out to be, Now ring coach is fucked up. Well, it is what it is. You could have been a leader to break the trend and say, you know what? I'm going to stand 10 toes down and I'm going to do things my way. And you did things your way. You did things to gather up all the all-stars, cheat all the rules, get all the players on my team, get player empowerment. You did all of that. And then when it didn't work, you want to act like you ain't had no parts of it. That's the thing about this game, man. Hey, Baba. There's the thing about this game. It's competitive. So when you try to gather up your squad over here, other players, other teams were gathering up their squad. And their squad want to be better than yours. Doesn't take away from your individual greatness. It doesn't. But you play that game, you play the arms race. You made the arms race. You had to match Kobe and then eventually Jordan. You didn't do it. You didn't get to 5. You didn't get to 6. We all know that those were the numbers. And now you want to cope with it. Now you want to tell us that 4 in 10 finals was good enough. Okay. We think otherwise because you played the game. And we're going to call you out for it, man. Bottom line, peace.